Hi everybody, it's Kendrick from Providence Tarot coming to you with your January week 4 Astro weekly messages. So this is the card that came up at the bottom of the deck for everyone. It's the Princess of Pentacles, which is the equivalent of a page, okay? So these are messages or announcements, things that sort of like come into play that get our attention and allow us to see that there's potential within a change, right? A turning of a phase or a change in our reality, in this aspect, right? According to this card, because it's of Earth, right? And the Pentacles are talking about things that you can rely on. It's also talking about strategies that allow you to kind of like get places. You know what I mean? Because the pages are ruled by the World card. It's talking about the information that you might be receiving that is going to be able to be utilized by you in some way, shape, or form to bring about a change, right? In your reality this time, being that it's a pentacle. So you really need to just kind of like see where you can actually make the effort, where you can apply yourself in a very meaningful way. There might be some skill that you're going to have to exercise, some strategy. You might actually have to come up with a real plan, you know what I mean, in order to achieve whatever it is, or in order to get there, or in order to make this thing really real for you. You know what I mean? You want to see it go into a next stage, right? It's kind of like your curiosity for this change or this new reality has been sparked, and now you're really going to try to get somewhere with it, right? It's like you're signing up for it, okay? Thank you, guys. Aries, your card for the last week of January is the Lovers. This is a 6, this is Mercury, and the 6th house is Virgo. And Mercury is always talking about adaptability and change and being able to maneuver, strategize, and even coming up with sort of like plans based on the inspirations that you might be, pulling in, like that type of thing. Also, it's kind of like, what are you getting out of your reality? Is it serving you, right? Do you see yourself thriving in the situation that you're in right now? And if you don't, how can you make some changes occur so that you feel like it's satisfying for you? You know what I mean? This could also be dealing with relationship, how these changes that are occurring within your relationship, or maybe, things that were not the norm are now becoming the norm for you. You know what I mean? Because it does talk about adaptability and change, but then it also has to do with habitual nature and practices. But this is the positive habitual nature, good things that you want to exercise, that you can kind of like, consistency, right? It's consistency. You want to keep things consistent in your life that's, that you feel like you probably deserve, right? You deserve consistency for sure. So how can you go about getting that consistency? It might mean that you might have to make some changes, you know what I mean? You might have to exercise some new habits, right? You might have to be a little bit critical of yourself, right? In the situation that you might find yourself in now, right? Because you're taking a look at where you are now and where you might be seeing yourself going, right? Because this is the moment, right? Where everything is in the moment, right? So you're saying at a moment's notice, anything can change, right? And that is very true. At a moment's notice, anything can change. And it's being ready for the change, right? And it's kind of like if you exercise healthy habits and you practice, having things in order, you know what I mean? Then when things sort of like change for you, you're almost kind of like ready for that. You know what I mean? Not being taken off guard. You're like kind of like comfortable with the changes that occur because it's not alarming for you. You know what I mean? That type of thing. All right. Thank you, Aries. Email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com if you'd like to book a reading with me. Taurus, your card for the last week of January is the Star card. This is number 17, right? So this is talking about, the mind, the spirit, the inspiration. And then it's also talking about where the mind allows you to go and where it takes you. You know what I mean? And it also is talking about how receptive you are to your environment. This is kind of like a card that speaks of regaining your own spiritual identity, right? So that you can stay confident in a world that's ever changing around you. It is talking about dealing with the highs and the lows of life. Yeah, it's talking about allowing yourself to detach from all of the goings on that might be stressing you out, because it is kind of like related to the mental. Like I said, it's Aquarius. We're in Aquarius season right now. This energy, you are squaring it. You know what I mean? So you're dealing with changes that might be occurring. Uranus, the planet that rules Aquarius, is right now in your sign. If not, it's in Aries, and it's going back and forth because all of the planets have sort of gone direct. So it's basically coming back towards you, right? So you're dealing with these changes. You're not afraid of having to face some of the new realities, right, that you might be, experiencing, or you might just be feeling like it's almost like cusping that energy, right? You can feel things changing, and you're just trying to stay in line with these changes. You're trying to merge yourself with these changes. You're trying to stay in the flow, right? And this is also a card of meditation, so some of you need to quiet your mind. You need to kind of do some things that are going to help you recalibrate your spirit and your energy. It's also saying, don't force things that aren't, meant for you, right? And don't force any situation that, you might find yourself in that doesn't seem to want to flow or align with you. The Star card does talk about the 7 chakras, and that's aligned with your spine, and Leo rules the spine. So it's saying that, you can bend but don't break. And then this is also talking about courage and strength too, because that's what the spine is talking about. So stay strong in your mind, Taurus, and stay strong in what you believe in. You know what I mean? Thank you, Taurus. Email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com if you'd like to book a reading with me. Gemini, your card for the last week of January is the Death card, and this is number 13. This is talking about, loneliness, and it's talking about the fear of loneliness, right? Because it's a 4, so it's related to the Emperor, right? You have a duty, you have a responsibility to understand that you are the only person that is of utmost importance to you. And sometimes you have to remember who you are, right? And you have to remember not to be afraid of yourself or who you are. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's going to be really gritty. It's going to get really real. There's going to be some hidden things that you discover that are uncomfortable, that are frightening, right? But you don't want to run away from that. You want to face it head on, right? And that's what that 4 energy of the Emperor is talking about. Facing it head on, facing your fears and facing your emotions. You know what I mean? Because it's time for you to cleanse yourself of some energy, right? That might be old, or something that might be a little bit crippling for you, to continue to carry, because it's talking about foundations and stability. So it's kind of like, can you continue to hold up, or can you continue to sort of fight against something? It really is saying that you have to gotta just let go, give in, you know what I mean, and let the change occur. It really is about shedding skin, right? And we're talking about, opening yourself up to a new reality that is going to be your new foundation, right? If you'd like to book a reading with me, Gemini, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Cancer, your card for the last week of January is the King of Pentacles, okay? So in your mind, you're fixed on something that you want to see yourself attain, right? It could even be talking about status, right? You might be, you know, there's a change of perspective that has occurred that has made you take a look around you, and you might be wanting to change something, right? Deep inside of you, really, you want something to change your reality. You want a better reality, right? You want an upgrade. This is what is happening. You know what I mean? And it's related to, just you, how you identify with yourself. You know what I mean? And it is kind of transformative because the King of Pentacles is 1/3 of Aries, where Pluto has a very significant placement, right? So this is talking about a little bit of a transformation happening. And Uranus is in Taurus right now, Cancer. So it is talking about having changes in your reality occur, right? It might be uncomfortable, yeah, but right? Because this is air. You know that this has to happen. You know that you've gotten too comfortable. You know that you have to change some things, right? And you know that it's going to be for your own good. You know what I mean? And you're ready because it's the King of Pentacles. So it's saying that you're in a mature state of mind to be able to handle this new reality, right? It's different. That's the transformative energy, right? That's why it's there. It's different. Something has been initiated in your subconscious, right? And now you have understood what that has been and what it has been showing you, right? So now you're just identifying with that. And now you're reconsidering what you have. Is what you have what you feel like you've been working for all this time? And if it's not, then what changes need to happen for you to have those things that you feel like you deserve? Because it is talking about security, real security, right? We're not letting our Neptunian ways, right, get in the way. You know what I mean? Anyway, Cancer, if you'd like to book a reading with me, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Leo, your card for the last week of January is the Ace of Swords. The Ace is related to the Magician. So this is your awareness of the truth, right? You're rising above the emotional attachments that you might have had for something, because if you see the image on this card, it is a sword that is being, prominently extended up above the water. So it's like coming out of the suffocation, not holding your breath any longer. You might be speaking the truth. You might be acknowledging the truth. You might be aligning yourself with the truth. You may not be lying to yourself anymore about the past or about what has happened or occurred, because this is a reduction from the Ten of Swords, right? This is you also knowing who you are in whatever in any given situation. This is a solution, okay? And this is also kind of like knowing what you have to do, right? Because now you're faced with something. You're faced with the truth, right? It's an ace. And the aces are related to that first house of initiation, what you might be faced with, You might be dealing with an air sign, and you're at the beginning stage of some new reality, right? It's a fresh perspective now. This is good. It's a change because it is an ace, right? It's really, it's almost kind of like this truth or this change or this understanding, right? The crown, right? That's what we're dealing with on the tree of life, right? At the top, okay? So this is you've gone all through and now you're back at the beginning. So this is the beginning of a new state of mind for you. Coming out of the mysteries of a situation. Because this kind of comes out of that Sun and Gemini energy. So you might be dealing with that, right? If you'd like to book a reading with me, Leo, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Virgo, this is your card for the last week of January. You got the Ace of Wands. This is good. This is action, right? So something has been set into action, or maybe you feel like you now have a responsibility to respond to something, right? This is kind of like a change of maybe direction, right? You know, this is also a challenge that you might be faced with, right? Because it's fire. And when you're faced with fire, it could be a challenge. It could be a little bit of an obstacle. You're going to have to make some effort here, right? That's all. It's really good, though, because the Ace of Wands is the opportunity to change something, right? But, you know, an opportunity to do something, to create something, to make something happen, you know? And it's almost kind of like you may have not known that you were going to get this opportunity. You know what I mean? Or you may have not known, you may have not expected this, right? Because it's unexpected, right? That's what the Ace of Wands kind of like brings. Oh, that's unexpected. You know what I mean? You could also even be intimidated by this unexpected happening, right? It's related to the first house of Aries, right? Which is talking about taking a risk. So you might have to take a risk with something. Don't be intimidated by it. You know what I mean? It is exciting, right? And I feel like, you know, it kind of like keeps you on your toes, right? It makes it a little bit more worthwhile for you because you had to try a little bit harder, right? To make it happen, you know? And it's not anything that you cannot do. You see what I mean, Virgo? I want to see you do this, okay? If you would like to get a reading with me, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Libra, your card for the your card for the 4th week of January is the King of Cups. This is Scorpio energy. Scorpio is talking about intimate relationships. It's, you know, a psychic energy. It's clairvoyant. You know, it's also being mature in your emotions, right? In your emotional state. We are in a season that's square Scorpio. So you might just be feeling like you want to have a deeper connection, right? There's deeper meanings behind things for you at this time, right? With the King of Cups, you understand, right? It's kind of like, yes, there is the social aspect of relationships, but then I feel like there is also the depth that you get to experience with intimate relationships that is very important, and it allows you to learn things, right? It kind of helps you change your perspective about others, right? Also, maybe how you even see yourself. I feel like with the King of Cups is deep down willing to learn from others, you know? It really does want to be fair, right? But the King of Cups also wants what he wants as well, because he is ruled by Mars and he is ruled by Pluto, you know? Intimate relationships change you. They transform you. You know what I mean? And it's like sometimes with the King of Cups, because he's so mature in that fixed water energy, he does put up blockages sometimes, right? He is sometimes kind of hard to get close to, right? Because he's air, so he's a little bit detached, but then he's water, so there is the weight of that, right? Trying to keep things light because you do feel things so deeply, perhaps, because it is 1/3 of Libra, you know? This is also psychic energy, right? Dreaming of something. He desires something, the King of Cups, right? So there's a great desire, and there's a desire that has matured, right? And it has deeper meaning. It has gotten past the superficial. It's not just about the pleasure, it's about the meaning, right? If you'd like to book a reading with me, Libra, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Scorpio, your card for the 4th week of January is the 5 of Wands, and this is Saturn in Leo. What challenges are you facing? You know what I mean? Why are you letting your ego get in the way of you being able to get along with others? Is it because you can see that they have egos too? Those will be checked by their own energies. You know what I mean? Right? And this is also some tensions that you might be feeling within a commitment, right? Right? It's kind of like, have you learned your lesson? You know, you can't continue to be the same way, right? As well, for some of you guys, because I'm just throwing stuff out there now. You can't continue to be, Leo, the same way. Can't continue, Saturn, to be, right, the same way that you would always have been. Saturn energy, right? That's why Saturn doesn't do very well in Aries. So it definitely doesn't do very well in Leo. You know what I mean? You might be feeling like oppressed a little bit. You know? It's almost like you might be feeling like you're not getting the attention that you need, but meaning like you're not getting what you want, right? The way that you might want it. You know what I mean? And it might even be that other people are pushing back, right? In some kind of way. You might be experiencing some kind of like a pushback, right? But that might just be because you might need to be checked a little bit, right? And you are learning something. You're learning something about the way that people behave, right? And, you know, everybody isn't the same. Everybody isn't going to act the same way, especially when they get in a group. You know what I mean? People's behavior changes when they sort of like, when they experience other people that they might be intimidated by. You know what I mean? And vice versa. This is related to the Hierophant, you know? And the Hierophant is talking about, you know, ways that you have gotten used to, right? Being set in your old ways, right? Because this is fixed. So you need to break out of these old ways that you know have been getting in the way all along. And you know what they are. If you'd like to book a reading with me, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Sagittarius, your card for the 4th week of January is the 2 of Pentacles. This is an active card right now. This is Jupiter and Capricorn, right? And it is in its fall here. So you're dealing with some changes, right? You're having to apply yourself in order to see the changes happening, right? Getting from point A to point B, right? And this is also talking about you being sensitive to the ways that you have to try to like get things done, right? You might be having to do a little bit more than you wanted to, right? You know, you have more of a responsibility right now, Sagittarius, right? You might even be feeling a little bit emotionally complacent about it, right? Because it is related to that too, which is the High Priestess, right? That energy. You have to deal with the reality of a situation. You can't just be too imaginative about it, right? And then we're also talking about, you know, what you ideally would want. So you kind of probably may want more than actually is being given to you right now, right? Right? You're like, oh, I want it this way. But it's like, okay, well, you're going to have to do X, Y, and Z. You're going to have to do A and B first before you can get to X, Y, and Z, you know? But this is a card of the growth of something, right? the growth of responsibility, right? The growth, more planning, right? You might have more to do, right? You might be experiencing, you know, a lot of extra time on your hands, right? And that might be what you might be feeling some kind of like way about, you know? You might have experienced some losses, right? Because it is related to the 2, right? There's some losses and some gains, right? Definitely, because it's Jupiter. Jupiter and Capricorn. Losses and gains, right? Also, these 2s are talking about the duplication of something, right? You probably need to save a little bit more money, okay? Don't spend as much, right? You know, being a little bit more practical. It's easy to be practical in the wintertime, right? It is. You're not going out as much, you know what I mean? You're inside more. I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold, you guys. But really look at what needs to be attended to, or what needs to be tended to here, right? And then you'll get your satisfaction out of that, right? Out of not being in denial about what really needs to be happening right now at this time in this season, because this is a very seasonal card, as Jupiter is in Capricorn right now. You know what I mean? Take your mind off of things that like don't really that are kind of like done anyway, you know? Right? If you gave something up, then that's something that you gave up. You know, stop trying to go back to that place. Okay? Thank you so much, Sagittarius. If you'd like to book a reading with me, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Capricorn, your card for the last week of January is the 10 of Cups. This is Mars in Pisces, darling. And when I think of the 10s, I think of things that are talking about career, yes, and I think of things that are talking about love, because Pisces is talking about unconditional love. And, you know, right now Neptune is in Pisces, and so is Venus. So you guys could be definitely, you know, engaged, right? Mars, engaged in an overwhelming feeling towards someone, an individual. Or you might be having, you know, really great feelings about your career. You might be loving what you're doing right now and the way that your career might be giving back to you. You know, you might be experiencing pleasure in some kind of way. You do like to work a lot. Maybe you got your dream job right now. You know what I mean? And you're feeling good about that. This is also feeling good about, you know, your family, right? And giving back to your family. So it's kind of like, you know, feeling good about the work that you're able to, you know, get and do, right? That provides for your family is a show of love and compassion. You know what I mean? And you could be feeling good about that. You know, you might even be feeling relieved. Okay? Because there might have been something that you might have been waiting for, right? Over time. Something like that. You know? The approval of something, right? With this 10 of Cups. Okay? It's factual. Right? You're the one I seem to come back to. What song is that? Is that Janet Jackson or Paula Abdul? I can't remember. Actually, no, my gosh, I'm absolutely wrong. It's Baby, 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 and it is TLC. So yeah, you know, you're feeling very good, right? You might even be feeling overwhelmed, right? And you have a responsibility to do some stuff, and you just might be feeling overwhelmed by it, you know? Because whoa, Pisces can be overwhelmed by their emotions, Mars, right? You might even be letting something go because you're trying to reduce this 10 to a 1. I feel like, right? Okay, so you're probably trying to like pull it all in, right? Aim it at one place. Right? You might even be traveling, right? Some of you guys might be traveling and you're like, look, we need to be in one place. Anyway, Capricorn, if you would like to book a reading with me, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Aquarius, your card for the 4th week of January is the Prince of Wands, and this is double fire, darling. So you could be feeling passionate about something. You have a lot of energy and you're ready to move forward with something for sure. You know, if you're intimidated, it's almost like the intimidation factor just excites you more. You know what I mean? It's like the chase, right? You've got your eye on something and you're really wanting to go for it. It doesn't matter how hard you have to work, right? I kind of like that. And it's like, you know, it's passionate and it's spirited, and there's a lot of momentum here too, right? So that's what's making you excited, is that you can feel the momentum, right? You can feel the earth like literally rumbling under your feet as you get closer and closer to this thing that you feel like you're going you're zeroed in on, right? You're charging forward, okay? And it's almost like your adrenaline too, right? It's like that excitement factor. Okay, you're getting closer to something too. That's definitely for sure. Okay, you feel that? And there's also something to be gained out of this, right? With that green underneath your feet. You know, you're standing on something. You're standing on gold with something, right? You're standing on growth, right? And Sagittarius is talking about growth. So you're expanding. You can feel that. Something's getting bigger for you, right? You might even be feeling a little bit bigger, right? This is good. This is energetic. This is your season. Happy birthday. You know what I mean? And the sun, a very fiery planet, is there right now pouring energy into you. So, you know, usually when that sun is in your position, if it's positioned in your house, you're feeling ready. You're amped up, okay? Rearing and ready, you know? Yes. There is some abundance here and you're going towards it. If you'd like to book a reading with me, Aquarius, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Well, Pisces. You got the Wheel of Fortune for the 4th week of January. This is the wheel in this deck. Is it a wheel of protection? Right? This is talking about travel. This is talking about something being open-ended. Right? Because that expansion, open-ended. Right? You see how that circle isn't complete? We're trying to complete something here. Right? Because this is number 10. So if something was open-ended, it needs to complete. Right? That circle needs to close. Right? So that you can have your own space for new opportunities to be with you, to go towards. Because the Wheel of Fortune is going towards something. And then it's also being able to adapt to changes that you have a responsibility to, because it's a 10. So it's related to the 10th house of Capricorn, right? Okay? And your place in the world and how the world sees you. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So we could be dealing with like career stuff, how that might be changing for you. We could be dealing with like how you yourself might be changing based on the changes that have happened around you, right? This is also, you know, in your sign right now, you got you got your ruler. You also have your exalted planet. Venus is there right now. You know, you could be dealing with an Aries. You could be dealing with the Leo. You could be dealing with the Sagittarius. Okay? And the 10th month is October. So there's Libra here as well. Right? So there's some things closing out. There's some cycles. As the Wheel of Fortune is talking about, cycles that are being closed out. Right? And then we're talking about anything can happen. Right? We're talking about being open to the changes and being open to the cycle that brings about being open to the cycle closing, because once the cycle closes, then it's like the beginning of a whole new cycle that you're opening yourself up to, you know? right? If you'd like to book a reading with me, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com.